Us today.
Hi, how are you?
I did.
They're going to be quiet tonight.
We're live, all right. All right, welcome to the Town of Litchfield's Board of Selectmen's meeting for March 10th, 2014. We'll start the meeting with a pledge of allegiance. All rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So the board is just coming out of a manifest paperwork review session, or period. First up is the review of items for consent. In the consent folder this evening, we have the minutes from February 24th. We have the accounts payable manifest for $70,437.73. We have payroll manifest for $43,047.02. An ACH authorization school payment from March through May for $2,283,812. We have a veterans tax credit application times 4, and we have an intent to cut for map 22 lot 13. Do I have a motion or?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask that the item number 1, the minutes of February 24th, be removed from consent.
Okay. Anybody have any objection? Where are the consent? And that's because you weren't there at that meeting, right?
Correct.
You should just remove them originally. Sorry about that. All right, so we're just gonna remove them from consent. Anything else? All right. Do I have a motion to approve the remaining items
So
of
moved,
consent?
Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 5-0-0. For the item that was removed from consent, we'll just tail at the end, I guess, we'll do that fine. All right, request for items for other business. Do anybody else have anything else they want to put on the agenda or discuss tonight?
Yes, I'd like to discuss, we can do it possibly under Selectmen reports, but I'd like to discuss the issue of impact fee draft policy.
Okay. I will add that. Yeah, we certainly can talk about it then. Anybody else? All right, hearing none, that'll be the one addition, and we'll do it during the planning board update, I guess. All right, next on the agenda is Conservation Commission, reference the New England cottontail. Is this the bunnies? The bunnies.
Cottontail is.
Hi, Joan, how are you?
Four-legged.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I just wanted to update you on some items that will be happening on town-owned conservation land. Actually, on the muster field across from Old Town Hall, they already were in there and cutting. And this is because we were approached by Natural Resources Conservation Service, which is part of USDA. And they are, for a number of years, have been trying to find habitat for New England cottontail, which they do not want to put it on the endangered species list. That's why they're trying so hard to find habitat and create more bunnies, so it doesn't get on the endangered species list. It is different than the eastern cottontail. And if you're one of the other bunny, you probably know the difference. Otherwise, it's pretty hard to tell. Anyway, they came, Don Kierstead from NRCS came in and gave the Conservation Commission a little talk on why they want to do this and where. As I said, the muster field, they have already cut and everybody is quite happy with it. Historic Society and Conservation, and Kevin, who had been maintaining it. And now they're tomorrow most likely bringing in the equipment to do Moore's Falls. That's the intent to cut that you have there. They will be paying the intent to cut fee. They're bringing the equipment, doing all the work. We're not paying anything. And there's about 7 acres at Moore's Falls that they're going to cut down over the first hill and down further.
What are they cutting to?
Pretty much everything. I did save one oak tree that I wanted. They're not cutting towards Renee Thoreau's land to the south. When you look at Moore's Falls to the south, they're not going to cut to the south of the path. But everything from the trolley track up to that knoll, they'll pretty much cut.
Oh, okay. So they will be leaving something from there, the trolley path to the river, right?
Yeah, they will not
Because that's
cut.
been all,
Yeah, I do
always
not
been,
want those pine trees cut, because I know that we've had great horned owls in there in the past. And they will not be cutting that at all, those pine trees.
and this is they want to improve or make
They want
a
to
new
create
habitat.
Well, they have historic records that show the cottontails were there 10 years ago and in other places in town. And they think they still may be in this one particular place, not this one. But they want to create habitat where this is older growth forest. They want to make emergent growth. So they may make some brush piles.
As we don't really own that land, that's owned by the state of New Hampshire.
No, we do own it. Morse Falls?
I don't believe we own it.
We own it, and Fish and Game has an easement on it.
Yeah, wasn't that part of the,
So,
years ago?
The LCWF, the Land and Water Conservation Fund, we bought that 8 acres along the river.
Right.
And then this piece was given to us by a wetlands violation.
Right, so I remember.
my understanding and my recollection, and I could very easily be wrong, was that the state owned it and that there's a contract between the town of Litchfield, Conservation Commission, and the state to help manage that. And all I'm asking is the state aware that we're gonna be doing that, that's all. That's where I was headed with it.
Well, Fish and Game is aware. They had to talk to Fish and Game because they monitored the easement. The one across from the library, the state owns outright. That was L-chip money way back. But this, I'm sure we own it. I'll double check. Because they come and monitor it every year they check the monitoring of the easement.
Right.
And, let's see. I guess then, on the Morris Falls piece, they are going to bring rabbits in once the area gets stabilized. And then they will enhance with dogwood, chokeberry, raspberry, blueberry, and hazelnut. So there's other species too that will, like this, hawks will be having a nice time down there. And question that Darlene DuBois had was, is this going to encourage more fox or coyote? And he said that it wouldn't. Mr. Kierstead said that it wouldn't.
That, I was gonna, because we've heard coyotes down there, there's been packs of them.
Well,
And yesterday I saw a fisher cat go right by, a fisher go right by a wood pile, cross the street and go down into there. So I can imagine what a rabbit won't last long, a couple of
Well,
those.
that's what I guess their life expectancy is not very long.
Yeah,
Well, they multiply like rabbits.
oh boy, I knew that was coming, somehow I
Somehow
knew.
that was gonna
I,
be-
I promised Joan it wouldn't be me tonight, so.
It was
You-
just
you-
a
you
matter
Hear
of
what I said when I
time.
heard about it.
I want you to understand what Joan has suffered through for the past few months with my office across from hers on this
Now,
project.
is there any risk to any of the surrounding property of the rabbits invading into that property, or, I mean, so obviously there's no
They'll
fences.
probably move, yeah. Darlene to the north is interested in having the same work done. I don't know if they signed a contract with her yet. And, yeah, I mean, there's no guarantee that they won't move around. I guess if they find suitable habitat and water for whatever needs they have, that they'll stay in one place. I guess they're more active at night too, which
Most
Help with-
people are.
most people.
Is there an action the board has to take, or it's just information?
No, just information, just to update you, because in case you saw the machinery heading
Yeah.
that way.
We saw
No, it's
we
good
saw
to
some
know,
of
Joe.
the
Thank
cleaning,
you.
the cutting going on, but,
Yeah, I didn't know they were gonna do the muster field so soon, but that's
yeah,
good.
'cause that's, the muster field's up across from the fire station, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were up in there last week, I think, or the week before.
Yeah.
There was a machine there a week ago, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
And if they can get in there this week at Morris Falls, is really the best time where there's all the snow and the ground is solid.
Okay.
They may even put some rock in the parking lot to help them out, which would be good for us.
Any
So,
other, any
that's
other
it.
questions for Joan?
Would that help do away with these woodchucks that we got all around our places? Will the rabbits overrun woodchucks?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No,
I
Oh,
think the woodchucks will be more where they're vegetable gardens are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
We'll plant some vegetables down by the river. Get rid of.
So that's all I have.
Okay, no more questions? Okay, thanks, Joan.
You're welcome.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on the agenda, public
See you
input's out till
tomorrow.
6:30, so we'll burn 15 more minutes. Administrative report, new business,
Okay.
road repairs.
Wanted to share with you something we have in the pipeline for road repair. I passed along an article that you may have seen end of February in the Union Leader about infrared pothole pavement
Yes,
repair.
I saw that, yeah.
And so that kind of caught my eye. It was a New Hampshire-based business. I said, oh, this looks interesting. And the plan is it's supposed to be a lot more cost-effective and longer lasting than traditional patching. And this was kind of coming on the heels of Jack and I trying to figure out how and what we might want to do with Nessenkeg, for instance, which is still a couple of years out on our road plan, but has had a really hard time of it this winter. So I forwarded that over to Jack just sort of as food for thought, and Jack ran with it. And he contacted the company. It turns out they're opening a new facility in Bedford later this year. And so they're eager to find some work in this area. And, the article mentions that sort of the outreach to municipalities had not been strong yet. So he met with them a week before last, identified about 7,300 square feet of road we're going to try this approach on. There's a portion of Albuquerque shoulder and a majority of Nessenkeg. And price for all of that work, $24,000, which is less than half of the expected cost of a paving patch on part of Nessenkeg that we had been planning to do. So for us, we're curious to see how it works. There's a possibility this approach could really be helpful for some of the less extensive road repairs we have, as well as some localized potholes. And you look at our road plan, some of our residential streets need attention, but, that attention is still pretty pricey. This may be a good way for us to stretch those dollars a lot further. So, bit of a demonstration project. This is their first foray out down here, so we should be able to.
So these were, the roads you're identifying are roads that were in the repair list for this year,
Yeah,
and you're saying it's half the budget?
yeah. We had been, the cost of what we were looking to do. We were trying to find some way to stabilize Nessenkeg and part of Nessenkeg to buy us some time to get through to that. I think we show it in 16 or 17 on the plan.
Yep.
We won't have a road at the rate we're going, but we needed to do something. So we had identified a portion. We were going to take it down to a base coat and be in preparation for 2 years out. So it's sort of not a great answer, but a lot better than the condition it was there now. And what we're going to go instead is take this patching approach and be able to deal with the whole stretch that we have problems with. And then, we will be able to evaluate after a year where we are and, may be able to buy ourselves some time. Two things. One, buy ourselves some time on a rebuild on Nessenkeg. And two, if this strategy works, we may be able to go back and refine some of those things that we had in our road plan and be able to move to a much lower cost repair strategy if this pans out as it has been heralded to do.
So what is the infrared used to cure it? Is that what happens?
Yeah, there's a.
So it's traditional patch, but
There's a box of hot patch, and it comes down, and they sort of do the infrared around, so you don't have the seams, you don't have all the weaknesses that
Right,
you
with
have
the
in a
wire,
normal
right.
patch, where you can patch and cut, but wherever you cut, you always have.
Right.
Doesn't it
wherever is, you have a
basically
weak- so-
liquefy it and level it,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it sounds
Yeah.
like.
and then it sets, and, yeah.
Now, is the $24,000, is that a cut, is that the cost that would be for projects of similar size after this trial? Or is this we're giving you a good rate because we want to prove the technology, prove the way to do it?
It's closer to the future rate. There's a little bit of a deal as well, because we were kind of first out of the gate and reached out quickly.
I know Jack's excited about it, because I know
Hey.
Jack and I ran into each other when he was
Yeah.
getting over there.
Have you guys done any research on the company itself? Have you reached out to anybody who's had this done?
We looked loosely at some of the references out there.
Yeah.
We didn't do extensive extensive.
Which towns have done it that you know of?
It's up north, right?
There have been some in the Claremont area where they're based. They have a lot of private sector clients because they do a lot
Yeah,
of
McDonald's.
they do a lot of parking lot. They've done a lot of parking lot type work.
Yep.
I think the issue for them is that just sort of municipalities are a harder market to crack.
Right.
I guess I'd feel more comfortable if we could check some references on these guys,
I was thinking,
you
I
know,
agree with you.
by
I
all
agree.
means.
and,
Even if it's just a phone
well,
call.
24,000 for the amount of work you're talking about. If it works, makes sense, and I don't have a problem with it. I just would hate to see us sink $24,000 and then find out it's,
Doesn't work.
yeah. and-
Well, I was gonna ask, what kind of guarantee are they giving us?
The work's guaranteed for a year.
For a year?
For a year.
Which, if you think about cold patch and patching. it's
Yeah,
not
yeah. Cold
guaranteed
patch and
for
patching don't come with a guarantee.
Yeah.
This is guaranteed for a year.
that.
What is the guarantee if it doesn't include coal patching and?
Well,
No. When you do a cold patch project, it's not guaranteed. When you do a patch, a pave cut and restore, it's
Right.
not guaranteed. They're guaranteeing this patchwork for a year.
So in other words, like that pothole on Simeon Drive that keeps going down and,
Something like this would be
It would
an approach you would want to try on that, rather than our basic patch. You put it in, it lasts a little while it goes
2
away.
weeks.
So, sorry, go ahead, Frank.
I'm sorry. So, two questions. Number one, I'm assuming that when you're proposing this as a temporary fix to a pothole, rather than as a more longer-term fix to the road.
Yeah, what we're trying to figure out is if this works, this may buy us some more time on. This is not the end answer. This is an interim.
Try to lengthen
So,
it.
like
This
a
is an
Band-Aid.
interim step.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
understand what we're gonna try and get out of this. In other words, I see, if you go anywhere in town, I'm sure you can find a pothole here and there. But what I'm saying is, if it's just to fix the potholes, I mean, this is March.
This is beyond. Have you been down Nesson recently? It's beyond potholes at this point. I mean, it is pretty
It's breaking
serious.
up,
It is
right.
broke. It is what we're trying to deal with. This is broken pavement.
So the point is, we would go in there anyway and do a minor repair, which would be probably like it's down to the base coat and a relay, a retar it
Right.
traditional way. This way, we'd come in and do it using the new system and get the same effect of doing a complete road change. At least that section would be.
But
Yeah,
this
it
is
would-
only gonna last for a year.
No,
It's
this is
warranted for a year.
guaranteed for a
last
year.
year.
Okay.
This is guaranteed for a year. We're still a couple of years out on the full plan. The other piece that we want to see is, in that 4 million plus on road plans we have some lesser traveled roads that have some pavement breaking, have some alligator cracking and the like. Our traditional approaches of a basic overlay are still more expensive. We may be able to apply this type of approach to some of those things of the plan and buy ourselves significantly more time on those lesser traveled roads.
I think that the ask really is, can we get some references? I agree. I think this is a good idea. It could potentially save us some
Too
money.
good
and
to be
allow us,
true.
and allow us to get, anything with technology sometimes is too good to be true, but
Mm.
if it allows us to get some more life out of some of these roads that need these minor repairs or even, somewhat significant repairs, it's probably a good thing. Can we, I know it looks like McDonald's and Burger King and all those guys are customers of it. Can we get some references that we can call and talk to? And would it be nice to get some municipality references? I know they're just trying to break into that market, but if Claremont is one of them, it shouldn't be hard to call the Claremont office.
I think they're based up there, whether or not they've truly done it there. I don't know. I'm happy. I guess I'm a little surprised at the second guessing, but, I'm looking
I don't
at,
think anyone's second guessing. I think we just want to make sure there's nothing we haven't considered. I don't hear the board saying change your mind. We're just saying, can you just dot the I and cross the T and let us know you did that?
okay. But to what degree? I'm looking at, I forwarded the article because what
Yeah.
I read here was a manager of 18 facilities in Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, recommends it and says, the results
technology
are a
makes
much
sense.
superior product.
So, Jason, the technology makes sense, right? We all know the problems when you lay down a patch. it doesn't bond correctly to what was already there. This process creates a, a seamless bond. So no water and anything get underneath it and trap it.
And myself, I'm not one that believes everything I read, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they're saying they had 18 facilities done, call them, get the reference on them and see how their facilities are doing. And just to move forward, not knowing anything.
Yeah. I mean,
you know,
the bottom line is you got a few months, you got a month or two before we can do it anything anyway, potentially. So let's make a couple phone calls, ask Jack to get some references in writing, or have Jack come back and say, he spoke to these folks and they all swear by the process, and this is the results they're getting. I think that's all you're hearing us ask for.
I would think that the board would want to go and see some of these things with your own eyes. Don't just take somebody's word for it. Now I'm getting off, see, I can say it, but I still would go. If you said, Pat, go to Claremont and check that, I would. I think it's important, because I'm wondering, is it gonna have to be all ground, like Nessun Cake? Is that gonna have to be all ground and all, like we do when we have a job that's a big job? Or is that, by doing this now, is that gonna mean that we can just put hot top over it? I mean, regular tar and all, or what? Or don't you know?
At some point, yeah, it will be, I mean, some of these will still have to be repaved at some point in the future.
Redone,
but,
resurfaced.
Yeah, I mean, they always will have to be. I mean, what this does is this buys you some time, and it gets you a good traveling surface in the interim. We have a lot of places that need some attention right now to wait until we're able to invest in them.
I think the person that should be going out and looking at the quality of the work or the results of the work would be Jack, not the board.
I agree.
And Jack can come back and let us know what he thinks. I think in concept, I think in theory, in the concept, I think it makes sense. I'm not afraid of new technology. It's gonna help improve the lengths of some of these roads, so, or, again, have a better patch. It's really what it is a better patch. Something that's gonna stand up a little longer than some of the ways we're doing patching today. And it's gonna save us, based on this, it's gonna save us a lot of money. Or allow us to repair more of the roads that we wouldn't be able to do without.
Right.
And again, it's not a full repair, it's not a replacement, it's not a redo. Those are still in the plans. It's just the stuff we would do to keep the roads passable for the year.
I'm surprised if they're from Bedford, that some town in the immediate area hasn't used them.
They're just opening in Bedford.
They're gonna open in Bedford.
We are trying to be their demonstration project down here and get a better deal.
Well, if they wanna give us more of a break, that'd be fine.
That's it. I would say yes, if you want to use Litchfield as a guinea pig, fine.
Yeah, we're okay with that.
That's what we thought we were doing.
Well,
but-
$24,000 is not, but,
It isn't a lot, but hey, it's money.
But, so I think that's the ask of Jack, right? That's what I'm hearing. I think in concept it makes great sense, but. So, okay?
All right.
Anybody else any other? And I just have Jackie to, plan on coming back to the next meeting.
I'll pass it along to Jack.
And I'll stop by and see him too. Okay. Moving on, old business, Mike Lane.
Mike Lane, road agent and engineer received and tabulated bids for the Mike Lane project.
Yep.
Shared note from Kevin Leonard, our engineer at North Point. American Excavating will be receiving the contract. Their bid was $158,410.92, slightly less than the engineer's estimate of $159,214. Haven't scheduled construction yet. Jack plans on having an informational meeting for residents closer to time of construction.
Does
So,
he know when that will, does he have an estimate when he wants to start?
I think he's still looking like May, June, I think is the time frame, if I remember correctly. The other piece that I think is helpful again to note here too is that the engineer estimate for this project, as well as the past few we've had, have been extremely accurate. I mean, if you look at, his starting number and where the bids came in, or where the low bid came in, they were pretty much spot on. So, I feel awfully comfortable when we budget from his numbers for these projects. I think we had kind of that passing conversation this fall when we first did this. What kind of number are you looking at? Have you put it out to bid? No, but we have the engineer's estimate. So, I'm pretty comfortable, given the track record, what we've seen there.
Have we, just a curiosity question, have we graded the results after every project? What I mean is, how many overages, underages we've had, and any of that kind of, how close does the actual completed project hit that number?
They've been pretty close to that. There haven't been a lot of surprises in the field, or if there have been surprises, they've been
The biggest
unpredictable.
The biggest project they did was the one at the intersection of Page and Albuquerque, as I recollect it, and there was a surprise in there, but it wasn't their fault.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you know, I always look at these numbers. This is where Jack and I, look at these numbers differently. Jack sees the bid of 158. You know, in my mind, I plan on this number at 158 plus 10%, because you never know what surprise you'll have.
It's like a home project, always plan 20%.
Right. I mean, we've been well under my own mental contingency on all of these, but you know, in some cases, you never know.
What are they putting for contingency in there, 5%?
I think they have 5 in. I tend to think more of in the 10 range. So
Okay, so May, June timeframe.
yeah, May June timeframe. But you know, we had pass along there there were 4 bidders. So no
It was-
surprises.
Okay. Anything else on Mike?
Nothing else on Mike.
All right, we'll, other items, let's do stormwater planning, then we'll take a break for, public input.
Just a heads up on the stormwater planning. Met in the regional working group we had met last week. No great information on timetable for new permit. The informal advice that the people seem to have now is late fall for seeing that new permit issued. Some of the members in the region are looking at some different ways to collaborate on the administrative elements of this, because there is a lot of paper and testing and coordination. There's a lot of admin costs that we'll be facing, outside of making any real difference in the field. I'm not sure where that's going yet. It probably won't be entirely through the Nashua Regional Group, just because there are too many disparate interests, and but there may be a smaller collection of towns or some that have more geographic proximity. In some cases, it makes more sense for us to be looking kind of in the Londonderry, Pelham, Wyndham corridor than it does looking across the river at partnering with, Amherst and Hollis. So, we continue to work on it. The only other thing that I wanted to observe is nothing is formally scheduled yet, but we've begun compiling the first wave of paperwork that the auditors are looking for. We do most of that gathering electronically now. We actually post all of the shared documents in a shared Google Drive folder, and they do a lot remotely. So when they actually are scheduled for a date and get closer, I'll certainly let you know when that is, and any of the documents that are need board input will have.
Do they have a target date for completion, though? I know they're underway on
Not
that.
yet, no.
When did we get it last year? Was it May? No.
May, June, I think.
I'll have to look at the date, okay. All right, and that's it for the audit?
Yep.
All right, let's move to public input. If anyone from the public would like to speak to the board, please step forward. Mr. Pascucci, how are you?
12 Colonial Drive. Pat, I know this is your last meeting. Thank you for all the years you put in. I know you won't be sitting there, but I know you're still going to be involved for many years to come. So thank you. Last week, well, whatever the last meeting was, you guys had a discussion about gas tax, state level. Mr. Lemire brought up the issue, which I guess was a good discussion. I don't have any issue with discussing just about anything, but I was concerned when Mr. Lemire asked for you guys to take a vote to bring to our rep, Donna Susi. And the reason for my concern is I want to know, is it the role and responsibility of this board to take such votes? I mean, you guys are elected to represent us here in Litchfield. You're not state reps. And I kind of felt, and I guess maybe Mr. Lemire, I want to know, do you think that's the role to take a vote? You guys represent us, but you don't know how we feel about New Hampshire raising our taxes by 18%, 18 cents. Is that the role of this board?
Are you asking?
Yes, please.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
The senator expressed that she was interested in hearing from the towns. And our concern is protecting our revenue source, the money coming into the town. That's the reason for the vote. We get block grant money to fix our roads, and it's been reduced. And that money, the gas tax money, funds those block grants. And what we're interested in doing is raising the money we get to help us do our own roads. So what we're doing is basically protecting our citizens from an increase, from a decrease in the revenue source. We're trying to, so that we can at least maintain what we got and hopefully increase it or put it back to a level that it was before. So we won't have to raise the taxes on our own people just to repair our own roads.
Now, although I don't believe that this was an issue to be discussed on this level, but since it was brought up, and you guys do represent us, I need to now explain my take on it. You know, it is a tax increase, so I will be paying a lot more in taxes, in my case. I drive a lot. I have a lot of vehicles on the road in my business. So I disagree with the premise, because although I did hear you say they didn't raise the taxes since 1992, a lot more money is coming in because there's a lot more gas being purchased since 1992. I would ask other questions. Well, it's a tax per gallon of gas. Other questions I would ask would be, what are they doing with the money they already have? Why are the potholes not being fixed with the money that they have? So you guys made a vote as representing the town, but you have no idea what the town thinks. And I don't believe we elected you to make decisions, those kind of decisions. We elect you to make decisions here. I know you say it's protecting the revenue, but we don't know that. I mean, they're going to raise the tax. All the people in this town are going to pay it. The money's going to probably go general fund and be siphoned off somewhere else. My point is, you just can't, when you're paying money to any government, you can't trust that you're going to get it back. So in theory, it might work, but they might say this other town has more needs than Litchfield, but Litchfield people are going to pay a lot more in taxes. Look, that's a whole other debate. I wish you guys, you could have the conversation. Donna Soucy doesn't need, the good news is Donna Soucy doesn't need us to tell her, go ahead and raise taxes, because you know she's a vote for higher taxes anyway.
All right, that's
the point being,
that's a commentary on her.
That's what I'm doing here. It's my public input.
You said your piece over that. The board, all the board's intent was,
Okay.
as Mr. Lemire said, was, we do get funding from the state that helps us keep our taxes, our local taxes lower to maintain our roads.
Okay.
Your issue around why the state roads aren't being repaired, that's an issue you can take up with Soucy on your own. All we attempted to do is say, we support maintaining the levels. We'd like to see other ways, but
I agree.
this is the way you're moving forward with. We just want to make sure our fair share of that cut comes back to the community, so we continue to maintain.
My issue was the fact that you guys represented the people of this town by
Exactly.
taking that vote.
Yep.
And I think if you were to do that again, which I think is outside your role and responsibility, to at least maybe somehow get some input from the town and ask the people before you take that vote, say, who wants to come and speak before you guys vote for us? Because you don't know if the majority or even the minority or half of this town is for having an 18 cents increase in gas tax. That's all I'm saying. I think that was outside your role and responsibility as selectmen.
Comment taken.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Thank you. Anybody else like to speak in public? As a citizen or as a selectman?
As a state rep.
As a state rep. Good, Frank.
So if you want me to sit down there,
No,
I'll
no,
sit
no.
down there or whatever.
You can sit
So,
down.
a couple things. I don't believe that the bill that's going in front of the legislature is 18 cents. I believe it's 4 cents, but that's neither here
It
nor
came
there.
around total, right?
Okay? Secondarily, the point that was just made about the funds and where they go. There are quite a bit of the funds that actually do not get used for road repair. There are funds that get used for hiring additional state police. There are funds that get dedicated to LCHIP. And there are other funds that leave to other places amongst the many buckets that the state government has. So not all of this is coming to the town. Secondarily, it remains to be seen whether this will increase or not highway block grant money. The state right now is in a tough bind for money. There's only $9 million in the rainy day fund. The governor is looking hungrily at that, as well as other monies. And I would not be surprised if somewhere along the line an amendment gets attached, either in the Senate or in the House, that would freeze the highway block grant monies the way they are today, and then any additional funds get used for other purposes. That's not a definite, I'm just conjecturing. So, my 2 cents worth.
Thank you.
I don't know if you want to share the actual letter we sent to the senator. There's a comment in here that says, "We would look forward to the opportunity to increase those funds, but would also seek protection in the event that new funding sources are not created, that our share is not reduced in order to cover shortfalls in the state budget." I think that gets to the point. That was
the purpose of
Yeah.
right. We were just trying to make sure that we continue, we don't get cut out as we've been cut out in the past.
Right.
So, and that is our job as this board.
Yes.
Okay, seeing no more public, we'll close public input. Moving on to the agenda, selectmen reports. Anybody have anything they want to share? I know we'll talk about impact fees with Frank, but, no? Frank?
Yeah, the planning board is in the process of reviewing the impact fees, which are a significant change from what the structure of the existing impact fees are. And that trickles through to not just the town, but also the school and also other, I'll call them municipal organizations that would be using impact fees. It also goes into roads and everything else, which is a change because the town currently does not apply them to the roads, but the individual who's contracted with the town now believes that somehow they can be applied. I only bring this up, and I don't want to get into a big discussion on it, but I bring it up as a point because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Jason may have sent copies of this, or Joan McKibben sent copies of it to the entire board. I would strongly encourage the entire board to read this, because it is a huge change, and to be able to attend, if they want to, the planning board meeting where, and what date is that?
March 18th.
March 18th, where this will be discussed and get some of your questions answered. While, of course, I will be there, or I might be there. Who knows if I'll be there? Somebody will be there as the selectman's rep. I would strongly suggest that whoever goes to that meeting be prepared to discuss this and be prepared to add comments in, because there are some changes here that I've already picked up on that concern me, that people need to dig into. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. The information is in the informational section of the portal. So.
It's under the planning board impact fee updates.
It's good reading if you're
Tired
or whatever, or can't fall asleep, but I would strongly suggest, because it will have a significant change on the town.
Okay. Anything else selectmen reports?
Since this is my last, I'd like to say thank you to all the supporters over the 27 years. I'm definitely going to miss it. I miss it already. And somebody said, how can you miss it already? You're not done. But I do. I guess I've slacked off the last few months. But I've had a lot of fun, had a lot of good times, met a lot of nice people, and I've gotten more cards and all from people I didn't even know existed. I don't know where they came from, but it really was wonderful. I certainly want to say thank you to everyone for my support, because you know what? You can't do it by yourself, but there are many people that will volunteer if you ask them. but you have to ask them, because they won't volunteer otherwise. Okay?
Mr. Chairman,
So,
after you.
so Pat, I do want to say thank you for everything you've done for this town. I won't rehash what we said during deliberative, but you will be greatly missed. And for anybody who wants to say a personal thank you to her, she will be at the polls tomorrow.
If I'm alive.
She'll be at the polls tomorrow. And so please step in and, cast your vote and stop by and say hi and thank you. She does deserve a thank you. She's been,
I even
Connor-
baked today.
she's
so
been
I'll
a
bribe you.
she's been a cornerstone of this town for a very, very long time. So,
I would encourage everybody who's coming to the polls tomorrow to bring a dozen cookies for Pat.
I made
Or a blueberry pie.
Or a blueberry
With you,
pie.
I'll share them
You
with
get
you.
the blueberries, and I'll make you a pie tonight.
Oh, no, oh, God, no, I don't need it, thank you.
thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Pat, for.
Yes, thank you very much.
So, like I said, and that does open up, we are gonna move into the town meeting coverage tomorrow, but polls, the town meeting is tomorrow, polls do open up at 7 AM at Camel High School. They close at sharp at 7 PM, assuming there's no line and no one waiting to get in there, but 7 to 7. Three of us, well, two of us will be there consistently throughout the day. Mrs. Jewett will be there throughout the day.
Two of us can't because we're on the ballot.
Correct. So we do hope everybody who has an opportunity to vote, come down and vote. Your vote does count, and we do need your support in different aspects of what we've been asking for throughout the year. So, it's that. As far as coverage, like I said, I know I took the day off. I'll be there all day. Kevin said he'll be there throughout the day. He's got a couple hours where he won't be able to be there. And then I know Mrs. Jewett has offered to hang out with all of us for a while. I will make the folks that will be there, we do need to take care in watching the ballots. There was, a small incident where a ballot came available. We want to make sure the ballots that go in there are valid ballots. Don't anticipate any issues. The machine is pretty good about counting and all that, but we should just be hyper aware of that stuff. So a selectman needs to be at the ballot box at all times. I'm sure that's covered. Did I miss anything?
Minutes of that.
Oh, yeah, I haven't done that, then. Okay. Anything else about town meeting? No?
One change, that town clerk has passed along, there's the law has changed, in that for any race where there is at least a 5% difference between the apparent victor and the next place person, they do not have to wait to be sworn in.
Oh, we could swear them in that.
Right, so the town clerk has the various forms, so if the numbers play out in some races to be able to swear in, she will be able to swear some people in tomorrow evening.
Okay. I'm not sure why that would even be needed, though.
Just for
Because those doesn't.
Expediency, they won't have to come here to be sworn.
one
They
less step.
still, with regards to this office, they got it the first meetings when we do the swear-ins and the vote to the office
Right.
anyway, so. But, yeah, okay. that's
So,
good.
but, good example, say, supervisor of the checklist.
Oh, yeah.
If there's an apparent winner there, that person can be sworn in
And not
and then
the-
have the pleasure of dealing with all of the post-election paperwork that comes with being a supervisor of the checklist.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, next, items moved from consent. We did remove the minutes from February 24th. We do have 4 signatures, sorry. Yeah, we do have 4 signatures. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes for February 24th?
So moved.
Second.
All right, give it
Was a
back.
tie. Mrs. Jewett seconded. Any discussion? And Frank was absent on that day, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0-1 with Selectman Byron abstaining. And I'm just gonna put this back in the consent. Alright. And there was no other business other than impact fees, which we took up in the Selectmen's report. Before we ask for a motion to adjourn, is there anything else the board wants to discuss or bring up, or any other topics? And first,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead. My guess.
No, I would just like to say that I've been a selectman for 9 years, and in all of that time, I've served with Mrs. Jewett I've served with Mrs. Jewett when I was on Conservation Commission, when she was the liaison to the Conservation Commission, and I've always respected and appreciated her input and her thoughts and her help. And one of the things, I'll be honest with you, that I've respected about Mrs. Jewett more than anything is how she has helped members of this community and never asked for recognition to do it. She's used her own resources, money, time, and what have you, to help people out, and has never asked for anything in return. And I want to say, Pat, you're one of a kind, and I'm going to miss you dearly, the time we've served together. And hang around and help us out, and I'm sure you'll be prodding us every now and then with thumbs up or thumbs down, so. Thank you for everything you've done for us in the town, and for me as well. Thank you.
Hardest thing of my life. This is, you wouldn't think it would be, but it grows on you after 50 years.
It becomes a habit,
It is.
yeah.
You're my family. It really is.
and we still are, and this town is, so.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere, Pat.
Before we do adjourn, we do have a student observing. I didn't know if you wanted to ask any questions, or if you're okay, or, this is a short meeting, you came at the wrong time, good time of year to watch, bad time of year
Actually,
to
it's
get
probably a good meeting.
in. Just let me home before it's, whatever, oh, it's no
Yeah.
school tomorrow, right? No.
So
Where is she from?
are you from BG?
Do you live in Litchfield?
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
I went to BG, but it was many, many years ago.
All boys, I bet.
Yep,
Yeah.
graduated class of 1970.
Explains a lot.
Oh, now we know how old he is. He's not as old as I am.
My God, I was in diapers.
No, never as old as I am.
I wasn't in diapers, but,
Yeah, you
Neither
weren't
were
even
you.
born.
I was in diapers.
wow, welcome, and hopefully you can take something back and get some credit for it.
And
All right.
do
Mr. Chairman, I move to
volunteering.
adjourn.
That'll
second.
help you. Makes you happy. Makes you live old.
Okay, so we had a motion to adjourn and seconded by motion by Mr. Lemire, seconded by Mr. Bork. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 5-0-0. Again, tomorrow, vote 7 to 7 at Campbell High School. We need everybody to come out and support your different articles in your community, so please take the 15 minutes to come out and vote. And if you haven't registered, they'll register you at the podium, at the polls.
Yeah.
Everybody have a good night.